Hello everybody, it's Darren from Republic of Play, and we're going to be doing stuff a little bit differently here on the channel going forward, mostly as an experiment. I'm going to be looking to you guys to give me feedback on whether you think it works or not, but generally, the idea is that we have more regular content on relevant topics more frequently. So the first stuff I wanted to talk about was Total War 3 Kingdoms, because I haven't done a video on it since my review initially when the game just came out. The game has new DLC coming, it's got new free content coming, and we just heard that Creative Assembly is partnering with NetEase to make a mobile card game for a Chinese audience. I'm assuming the game is going to come to the West. We'll look into it now in just a bit. The reason I'm doing this type of content is because my channel, I typically do a video, once a week or twice a week maybe. And if the video doesn't really land, that week is a real big waste, and it's just not sustainable for a channel of my size. So this way, I'm going to be able to make faster content more regularly, and I've got another series in mind which is specific to Total War, which we'll talk about a little bit later, and I'll be looking for direct feedback on that one. So please stay to the end of the video or check the comments and stuff, because I'll probably write it in a pinned comment at the top what that series is about. I need your guys' input on that one. So, Total War 3 Kingdoms is getting its third DLC on August 8th. Now, I haven't covered the game since my video review of the game when the game initially came out. And the reason for that is pretty simple. I just got super burnt out and super bored by the game. Now, whoa, fucking, everyone calm down. Calm down. Don't throw a fucking milkshake at me, right? I just don't like the game, despite I know that many of its aspects are greatly improved in the Total War franchise. I can appreciate that. But I just can't form a connection to these characters. I can't form a connection to the world because the troops don't feel alive and the characters are over the top. There's nothing for me to relate to, and therefore I'm just not that interested in it. Now some people are like, oh, you only like white man history. Well, it's like, not really, because if Julius Caesar was flying around on a fucking Pegasus whatever, I just wouldn't give a shit about it. It wouldn't be Roman history. It wouldn't be interesting to me. So that's the reason that I don't really play it. And I just want to inform you guys that I don't plan on covering this content. Maybe I will if it turns out like it's really, really special. But from what I've seen and what I've seen in this DLC, a lot of people are kind of commenting the same thing. This is a really small pack. It's basically the equivalent of something like a Rise of the Samurai for Shogun 2, right? It's another start date. It moves the start date 100 years forward. You've got 8 playable princes or factions or leaders or whatever. And the game is largely the same, although there's a little bit of a different victory condition. So it's not really for me, although it is actually really cheap. I have to say, it's quite affordable. It's only $7 or $8. It's the equivalent of like a faction pack or something like that. It comes with some new units, I think, and that's basically it. So that's the reason that I'm not really going to be covering it. It's just because I feel like I've got one message about the game, and I don't want to be just putting out negative content about it. If people enjoy it, then that's great. But my message is always going to be kind of the same. It's like, look, I can't get attached to this game. There's nothing for me to go off. And that's just a personal thing, so I don't think it's fair for me to put that kind of message out there over and over. If I felt like there was a really large part of the audience that agreed and felt how I felt, then maybe it'd be a bit more relevant. But I feel like I'm in the minority by saying I want my games to feel a little bit, at least my Total War games, to feel a little bit more realistic, a little bit more grounded. And even though I think the campaign mechanics are largely a huge step forward with diplomacy, how food is handled, the building system, and all that stuff, to me there's just like no soul, for me. So that's 8 princes. So Total War 3 Kingdoms is actually getting a brand new game mode being added for free, and this is coming alongside the 8 Princes patch on August 8th. The mode is called Dynasty Mode, and it's a horde survival mode where you choose 3 characters and you fight hordes of enemies in a Total War game. So that's what that is. Essentially the reason for it is Intel are partnering with CA to do this. Basically means that Intel gives CA a fuckload of money and they say, hey, we've got some new CPUs coming out. Can you do something that makes it look like our CPUs are like really able to do something that, you can't otherwise have happen? And CA are like, okay, Endless Mode or Laboratory Mode, same thing, for Warhammer 2. I don't really have too much of a problem with this. It actually sounds kind of okay. Like you can actually play it online with the co-op of 3. It might be something you play once or twice. How high of a score can you get, and then you're done with it. That's what it is. Some people are a little bit miffed about this, and I can kind of understand why. With the 8 Princes DLC, they were saying like, well, we like the 3 Kingdoms period, and you're moving 100 years out, and you're not finishing the kind of southern part of China that's really empty, and it just seems like DLC people aren't really asking for. And they just seem to be a little bit out of tune with what like some of the audience want, or at least the vocal minority of the audience want. It's a similar thing here. Essentially, people are saying nobody's asking for a horde mode, you know? Nobody's asking for that kind of thing. Couldn't we get like a unit pack, a faction pack? Can't Intel sponsor something like that? I guess not. You know, I don't know. I can see the argument where it's like, well, it's free. Do you really have a problem? But on the other side, well, it's like, well, you could use that money to make something that people do want, or I don't know, release the blood pack for free and say sponsored by Intel. Look at all the blood you've got on screen because of Intel. Intel are fucking awesome, right? I don't know. I feel like there's a lot you could probably do to be pro-consumer, and this isn't really anything. It's just CA taking money and having a sponsorship deal. That's what it is. So I don't really care about it, but I can see why people are kind of annoyed that twice now in a row they're kind of doing stuff that doesn't really seem to fit the game. And here's like a screenshot of what it looks like. So they've actually redone some of the UI where your abilities are now next to your characters. I'm sure this is going to be super deep gameplay, right? 3 or 4 abilities on 3 characters and just endless waves of troops. It's going to be awesome. Can't wait. But yeah, it's actually kind of interesting up here. It's like Saber Militia, and there's 864 of them in the unit. That's actually pretty cool, you know, having gigantic size units. But obviously in a big open map, there's no problem just scaling that up and seeing what happens. So yeah, I don't know. I'll be interested to see it just briefly, but I don't think anyone's really going to be playing this for a long time. All right, so this one's a pretty weird one, and it's going to take a while to explain. Strap yourselves in because it's good. Creative Assembly and Sega have now formed a partnership with a company called NetEase. NetEase are a Chinese video game publisher which helped publish Total War 3 Kingdoms in China, obviously to great success. Now, NetEase are going to develop a card game called Total War Elysium, which features artwork of like Sun Ren playing against Napoleon. So it's going to be a collectible card game available only in China for a while, and I guess if it does well, it'll probably make its way west. Now that's not that strange in and of itself. It's like, okay, they have a good deal with this developer, they want to kind of expand on that kind of brand. Makes sense, I suppose, and it doesn't really affect anything. It's another company working on the brand. What's really weird is that they're also going to bring back Total War Arena as a Chinese exclusive. Now, let's take a step back and paint you a picture of Total War Arena's development. Now, for those who don't know, Total War Arena was a free-to-play battle game. We'll just leave it at that, because we could explain a lot more if you didn't know. Let's take a walk through time and look at Total War Arena. The year is 2013. Rome 2 is on the horizon and set to be the best Total War of all time. 40% bigger budget and AI that will blow your fucking balls off. But what's this? Pre-order now and you get the in-game Legionary Armory bonus for Total War Arena, the new free-to-play MOBA coming from Creative Assembly. Interesting. Okay, that was 2013. Fast forward to the end of 2014 when I get sent to Creative Assembly to play and see Total War Arena for the first time. Game was actually pretty good, but it's a year and a half behind schedule. It's already in what many people would call development hell, and it's in an alpha stage. It is nowhere near ready. Fast forward another year. Game reaches beta stage, hits Steam, and codes start getting sent out to people, but not everyone, for no reason. Legionary items never happened. Forget your pre-order bonus. Rome 2 has its own problems to deal with. Fast forward another year. Game is still in beta. Nobody really knows how to get into it. It's kind of a dead game. Fast forward another year, we're now at 2018. Wargaming buys the rights to publish the game. Sega pull out. The game moves off of Steam, and it goes to the wargaming.net platform, and it reverts back to alpha. A new monetization platform is built externally out of the game so that your in-game gold doesn't matter fuck all, and they can charge you stuff like elephants for $16, which is just a Rome 2 asset with no changes, or very little changes. Fast forward another year, Wargaming pulled the plug. The game just reached beta again. What game has ever gone through 2 alpha stages? I don't know. But anyway, Wargaming pulled the plug. Game is dead. This is February 2019. Fast forward 6 months, partnership with NetEase. Game's going exclusive to China. That's the history of Total War Arena. And by the way, Total War Arena was awesome as a game mode and a game. I'm not into multiplayer games. I'm not into MOBA games. It's not really a MOBA anyway. But it totally turned my opinion around when I played it. Very good game. Horrible microtransactions. Horrible progression system, I should say. I don't care if there's microtransactions in a free-to-play game, really, but the progression system was absolute wank, basically, for lack of a better term. So that's the deal. Essentially, you can read more on this blog. It says, you know, will I be able to play Elysium, this card game? And it says no. If you're in the West, probably not. But if you're in the East, then maybe you will be able to. Was Arena in that trailer? It's like, yep, Arena is going to make its return as a Chinese exclusive. We'd love to bring it back to the rest of the world someday. So if it's really popular in China and it gets more development, maybe Arena lives again. But it's just really weird. I'm still waiting for my Legionary Armor bonus. This got me thinking that Sega and CA have actually worked with a Chinese company before to make a sort of mobile spin-off, knockoff Total War game. And it was called Total War King's Return. Now this came out in 2016. This is a very real thing. This is an officially licensed Total War game. And it's very much a skeletons in your closet kind of thing. CA do not talk about this. This never happened as far as they're concerned. But essentially they took a bunch of money to sell out their license for some shitty company to make some shitty mobile game. And it looks worse than Shogun 1. I mean, look at it. It doesn't even run well. But look at it. But anyway, I'm sure NetEase's game won't be like this. Well, I'm not that sure, but I'm pretty sure, you know, it's a card game. They've got a lot of quality to their name. I'm sure it's not going to be this garbage. But never forget, Total War King's Return, the worst Total War game of all time. Alright, so that's pretty much it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed the format. Something a bit different. I thought, why not try it? I actually really like it. On reflection, I think it looks good. You know, we're able to do this way quicker, much more frequently, and much more regularly. I can hit these beats more often. It also doesn't always have to be about Total War. We can do Imperator, other PC gaming news, and just go through different articles and topics and things like that. Now, what I do have in mind as a long-standing series for this channel is designing the next historical Total War. So I know from experience, for those who don't know, you know, I have a degree in games development. I worked at a games company and I worked at CA for a few years as well. I know relatively well how games are made, okay? It is too late to change what's coming in Warhammer 3, in my opinion, at this stage. Warhammer 3 is definitely coming 2020. I would argue probably in May, probably roughly around then. Could be even earlier, based on when the new Saga game is coming, because there's a Saga game probably coming before that, but it should be next year. So it's too late. It's not going to change. Not now. Not really. Not in a major way. But the next historical game can definitely change at this stage, because it's probably in early design or it's in pre-production if they've got the design already kind of locked in and they're figuring stuff out what they can do with that game. So I think it might even be a useful tool for CA or just a fun kind of project for us. It doesn't matter if not one of these ideas goes in, but it's just a fun kind of thing for us to do where we can look through the history of the franchise, starting with Rome 1. I don't think it's worth going before that, but maybe we will if there's demand. But starting with Rome 1, going to Medieval 2, Empire, Shogun, and so on and so forth, and Warhammer, and spin-off games and everything, and even mods. I think mods are very important at looking why they've done things a certain way and why they're popular. Like, why is stainless steel so popular for Medieval 2? And essentially what we're going to be doing is I'm going to be talking through some of the biggest mechanics and best mechanics and features in these games that I think could be modernized and updated and carried over to future historical titles. I'm not going to be dwelling on the negative. It's just going to be pulling out the best aspects of all of these games that we like as a community, or at least some of us do, or we can agree on as much as we can. And then maybe they could get implemented and we could agree on stuff for the future of the franchise. It doesn't matter what the era is for this new game. It doesn't matter, because we can still... things still will fit, trust me. Just trust me on that. So just what I'm looking for you guys as an audience is to come up with what you think is the best stuff in Rome 1, for instance, because that's going to be the first game we tackle. And then on the Rome 1 video, I'll ask you for Medieval 2 stuff. So you could write a comment like, oh, I think agents, you know, the diplomat in Rome 1 is great, or maybe building watchtowers, or whatever the feature and mechanic might be that you think is good. I'd love to see it in the comments, and I'm going to be using your comments in the video to say, like, Trashmaster69 says, yeah, agents are the best or whatever, or bribing mercenary armies and stuff like that. So that's basically the idea. So I hope this can be quite a fun little thing we can do every week as well, just to instill some regularity on the channel, because like I said early on, I do a video once or twice a week. It's all scripted and stuff. It takes really long to do it, and then sometimes they bomb. Sometimes they do great, but sometimes if they bomb, then I've lost a week of production and work, and it's really tough. So that's the idea. So hopefully people like that, and we can start I don't know, contributing something positive to Total War as well. Alright, so that's going to be it for the video. Thank you very much for watching. Remember, if you want to help support me and continue doing these things, Patreon is a really great way to do that. Really appreciate people on there who do that. And any other form of support is great as well, whether it be a like, a share, subscription. Appreciate it. Thanks very much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.